Hi, I'm Brooke and welcome to Tech Tuesday at 2. This week we'll be learning all about the different uses of PDFs. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, I'm Bonnie Cain-Wood and I'm Manager of Communication Services here at the OSU Libraries. I'm going to be leading our discussion today for Tech Tuesday at 2, and today we're having a PDF party. We're going to talk about Adobe Acrobat and some of the different things that you can do with it. So let's jump right in, and I'm going to start off with some really basic level stuff. So first thing is simply, what is a PDF? Well, PDF stands for Portable Document Format. It's a very common file type. You're probably used to sending and receiving PDFs already, and you can tell you have a PDF because the file will have the extension name .pdf. Now, why is PDF so popular? PDF is ideal if you need to preserve the layout of whatever file you're sending. If you need to make sure that your formatting, your fonts, your images all look exactly the same when you send it, a PDF is what you want to be using. You can think of a PDF kind of like a snapshot of your file. So anytime it's important that it looks exactly right, PDF is going to be your go-to. It's great for class assignments, resumes, anything where that formatting is really important that it stays the same. Regardless of what operating system you're on, what kind of device you're on, what kind of software you have installed, or fonts that you might have, if you're sending a PDF, you can be pretty certain that the person you're sending it to or sharing that file with is going to see exactly what you see. And sometimes that's really important. PDFs are also great because anyone can open them, and you can open a PDF on any device. I've opened PDFs on my computer, of course, but also my phone, even my Kindle. So they're very, very flexible in that way. Now, if you're going to be creating PDFs and doing some of the things that we're talking about today, you're going to want to have a software product called Adobe Acrobat. And there's a couple different versions of Acrobat. You might have the free version, Adobe Acrobat Reader. Today, the tools that we're going to be showcasing are actually part of Adobe Acrobat Pro DC. So it's got a bit more functionality, but there's still a lot that you can do with the free version. And because Reader is so common and PDFs are so common, lots of devices that you have are probably coming pre-loaded with at least Acrobat Reader on them already. So we know what a PDF is. We know why we want to use it. It's also pretty easy to create a PDF. If you have a device that you can print from, even if you're not connected to a printer, you can create a PDF. So I have an example here I'll pull up. This is just a simple Word document, right? I can create a PDF from a Word document, an Excel file, a PowerPoint, or any of the other software programs that we have in the Adobe suite, like Photoshop or InDesign. If I want to turn this Word document into a PDF, I can just come up here to File and down to Print to open up my print dialog. Over here in Printers, you can see I've got different ones that I can choose from, but I'm just going to pick Adobe PDF. When I click Print, it's going to turn that document into a PDF file. So I could just navigate to where I wanted it to be, click Save, and I've created a PDF. So you know how to open a PDF. You know how to send a PDF, why we might use them, and how to create a PDF. Congratulations, you have your PDF basics down. But what we're going to do in today's talk is we're going to dig into some of the tools that we have in Adobe Acrobat. These tools are very simple to use, but it's really going to bring your PDF game to the next level. So let's open up Adobe Acrobat and take a look at a few of these tools. So the first one I want to show you is how to combine multiple files. This comes in handy for a lot of different reasons. Maybe you have a couple pages of a Word document and then some slides from PowerPoint, and you want those all to be in the same PDF. Maybe you're working on a group project and you have PDFs or other files that are being contributed by multiple users and you want to put those all together. There's lots of reasons why we might need to combine PDFs, and it's really easy to do. So I'm going to start off by just opening a few PDF files for us to work from. I've just opened this one up. So this is an example of a syllabus that I'm using for one of the classes that I teach. We can see here that I've got a few pages here in my syllabus. Now, every year we have to include the syllabus attachment as well. So I get this as a separate file and I want to combine it with my own syllabus that I've created. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to open up that syllabus attachment. And so now I've got two PDFs open here in my window. I'm going to come over here to combine. And if you don't see this toolbar on the side, it may be because it's collapsed. So if it's just flush over here to the side, you'll see this little arrow. You just click that and you're going to get a list of tools over here in the sidebar. Now there's a couple ways to navigate to these tools. Like with all Adobe products, there's multiple ways to do anything. So if you have a favorite way to do any of these little tips and tricks that we're talking about, drop it in the comment and we can share that as well. So we're going to use this combine files. Now, once I click combine files, you see my PDFs have disappeared and I've opened up this combined file dialog box. My PDFs are still there. They're just up here in the corner. So I can click on these to get back to them anytime I want. Now there's two different ways I can do this. I can add open files, which will add everything that I have open on my desktop in Acrobat right now. So I can add open files, add those, and there they are. But I might have other things that I want to add as well. I can come over here and add more files. I can add an entire folder, or I can pick the individual files that I want. Now, one of the nice things about this as well is that it doesn't have to be all PDFs that I'm combining. Maybe I want to add these two goofy photos. So I'm going to add those. And now they've dropped it in here. So from here, another great thing that I can do before I combine my PDFs is I can rearrange these pages. So I've got my syllabus attachment at the beginning and then my actual syllabus second. And I want it to be the other way around. So I'm just going to click on that syllabus, drag it back to the front, and now I've reordered those pages before I combine them. Then I just click combine. I give it just a second, and you'll see up here at the top, it has created a new file for me called Binder1. Now, when I save this file, I can rename it whatever I want, of course, but if we scroll down real quick, we'll see there's that syllabus that I added. There's the syllabus attachment. And then there are my goofy Bitmojis. So that is our first intermediate skill for PDFs, is how to combine PDFs. Now, sometimes after we've combined them, or maybe in a document that we already have, we want to rearrange the pages. Again, a couple different ways that we can do that. So in our toolbar over here on the side, we can grab this new tool called Organize Pages. If I just click on that, again, my document kind of disappears and I get this sort of tool palette here. So from here, if I want to reorder anything, I can just grab the individual pages and drag them over here to where I want. So I can reorder things however I want. And then when I come back up here, click on Binder, come back to Home. There we go. And so now I've reordered my pages. So like I said, in Adobe, lots of different ways to do the exact same thing. Rather than come over here to this Organized Pages, one of the ways that I like to do this is come over to my page thumbnails on the left side of my screen. If I click that page thumbnails, I can see all of my pages right in here. And if you're working with a really long PDF, this page thumbnails can also be a great way to jump around within your PDF, because you can see that thumbnail of the page you want and you can go straight to it. So that is how we reorder our pages. Now, sometimes if we're combining multiple PDFs, we might have some pages that we want to have in portrait orientation and some pages that we want to have in landscape orientation. If I was putting together maybe handouts for a presentation along with some of my PowerPoint slides, I might want some of those pages to face different directions. So you can reorient your pages using these same tools. We can do it over here in this sidebar, or we can come back over to organize pages and we can do it from here. If you've scanned in some documents, sometimes we scan something in and we bring it into Adobe and then we realize all of our scans are upside down. It's very easy to fix here. You just click on the page that you want to rotate. You can rotate it from right here or from up here. So I can click on it like that. Another great thing to realize is that all of your pages in your document don't have to be oriented in the same direction. So I can have some of my pages in portrait orientation and some of my pages in landscape orientation. It's going to work just fine for my PDF. And as I scroll through here, you can see where that orientation changes. So if you have some pages you want sideways and some pages you want straight up, easy to do in your PDF. Now, maybe I've put some pages in here and I've decided for who I'm sending it to, I don't need all of those pages. I want to take a couple pages out. Again, super easy to do, either from this organized pages or from our sidebar here. We can just click on the page that we want to delete, click on this little trash can. It's going to ask you, are you sure? Yes, get rid of it. Page is gone. So we can add pages in using that combine feature. We can rearrange them and we can reorient them and delete them all in this sidebar or using that organize pages. Now, one of the other things that's really nice about a PDF is we can send our documents to somebody for them to review, and they're not going to be able to really mess with our formatting, but we still might want their comments. There are lots of ways that we can comment on our PDFs. I'm going to close my little sidebar over here so we have a bit more room. So again, I'm coming over here to that toolbar on the right-hand side, and I'm going to click on Comment. Now, I think one of the things that gets people a lot when they're trying to use some of these tools in Acrobat is very few of these are one click to use. You've got to click multiple times. So I've clicked on Comment. I've opened up my comment toolbar here, but if I try to start writing on things, I can't grab anything. That's because I need another click. So when I've opened up Comment on that right-hand side, it actually gives me a new toolbar here across the top. And these are all the different ways that I can mark up or annotate this PDF and send it back to somebody. So one of the easiest ways to add a little note is to use this one. They call it Add Sticky Note. So it looks like a little conversation bubble. When I click on that, my cursor has turned into that little conversation bubble, and I can click anywhere I want, and it's going to open up a little dialog box for me to put a note. Here is a note. Once I click Post, I can close that, and when I save, that little sticky note's going to remain there on my PDF, and when I hover over it, I'll be able to see the comment. So you can go through a document, maybe you're collaborating with someone or providing edits, and you can click that little guy right there and put a note anywhere. Right? Now, another one that is great, and this would be really nice if you were maybe using a PDF of an online textbook, is the highlight feature, right? So the next tool over is to highlight text, and you can change the color of your highlighter as well if you want. We can just come over here. We can select from any of these colors. We can change the opacity. I like everything to be in orange, so my highlighter is in orange. But once I select that, I can just highlight again, and those marks will stay there. I can also go in and underline text, and just like with the highlight tool, I can change the colors of my underline if I want, but when I do this, anything that I highlight will be underlined. We can also strike through. Same thing, whatever I highlight, I can strike through. This one kind of combines the strike through and the comment. So our little crossed through T with the bubble next to it will add a note to replace text. So maybe I'm going to edit this for someone, and I'm going to highlight this, and then I can tell them what I want that new text to be. Change this text. Post. Now, when you come back and take a look here, you can see what I wanted that text to be replaced with. This one right here will allow us to insert text. Maybe a word is missing. I can just click where I want it to go, add the text that I wanted them to insert, and post. Sometimes I want to just put a comment, right? I can grab that text box and just start typing, right? I can add myself a text box in here. And this one right here is one of my favorites. So you can also use the free draw tool. Again, you can change your color over here. So whatever color you want that pen to be, you can select. Just for contrast, let's pick dark blue for a minute. Now, I can use my trackpad and just sort of draw on it, right? But if I'm trying to make edits, that can be difficult to do. If you have a device that's touch enabled, like my Microsoft Surface, and you have the stylus that goes with it, this is a great way to use this tool. So I really like this when I'm grading, because I can go in and just write in exactly what I want those edits to be on the assignment. If you've made a mistake, we can grab that eraser tool, erase off those marks that we've made if we change our mind. So those are some of the ways that we can annotate a PDF. So that can be very, very handy. Now, I mentioned that one of the great things about PDFs is it's like a snapshot, right? It's going to be very static when you send someone your PDF, but we can do some light editing to our PDF. If you want to do some major changes, it's always going to be ideal to open up that source document, whatever you created it in, Word or InDesign, make those edits there and re-export your PDF. But if you just need to make a little change, there's ways that we can do that too. We're going to come back over to that toolbar on the right and select Edit PDF. So now we see we've got some options over here, and we've got some options up here across the top if we wanted to add anything. So I'm on Edit right now, and you'll notice when I opened up my Edit toolbar, I got these little boxes around all of my content. So if I wanted to come in and just grab this, I could change it, right? And you can see it's a little bit wonky there, but maybe I noticed that I misspelled a word, or maybe I wanted this to take that out, right? We're not going to do that. We're just going to talk about persuasion on that first day. So I can make those little small changes pretty quickly and easily. So if you just have to correct one little word or move something over a little bit, it's very easy still to do that. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Bonnie, you told me to send a PDF because it's going to be static. It's not going to get changed. If you want to make sure that you're sending your PDF and people aren't going to change a word here or there or change a date or move something around, you can restrict that editing if you're the one creating that PDF. Right over here, still in our editing toolbar, down at the bottom, we've got this option to restrict editing. If I click on that, it's going to ask me for a password, right? So we want to put in our password. Make sure it's something you can remember. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to edit your PDF in the future either. And you click OK. Now, this hasn't gone into effect right away, right? I can still come in and do that light editing that we talked about. Once you save your PDF and close it, when it's reopened, that restriction will go into place. When you want to turn restricting editing off, we just come back over here to our edit toolbar, unclick restrict editing, and you can enter in your password and take that off. Now, another thing that we often are seeing PDFs used for is forms. And this is fantastic. If you're trying to go paperless or trying to do things more paper-free in your office or in your work, using the PDF form function can be a great way to do that. So lots of times you'll get forms. Maybe you're filling out a W-2 for a new job, right? And it'll already have those form fields in, right? You can just click on the form field and start typing in your information. But it has happened to me on more than one occasion where someone sent me a form in PDF, but they hadn't turned it into a form yet. I can still fill that form out. And we're going to use this feature called Fill and Sign. So again, I'm going to open up that toolbar for Fill and Sign. And you can see up here at the top, I have just a few tools. So the one that I use most often for this is just this little tool right here that says AB next to it. Well, if we grab that, we can create a form field anywhere on our document. We can just click and type in the answer that we want for that particular question on the form. Just grab it again, click. We can put in another answer. Now, another thing we do oftentimes with forms is we have to check boxes, right? So they give us a couple choices for that. We can grab that X, right? I could X on those choices on the form that I wanted to, or if you prefer, you can use that check mark, right? So very easy to fill out our forms in that way. Something that we're doing more and more, especially in the times of COVID, right? Where we're doing everything virtually, is we're having to sign a lot of our documents electronically. And again, this is one that I've seen people have trouble with because it's a couple clicks in. So we're going to sign a document just like we fill out a form. So I'm going to find us a clean page here. We'll sign this page, right? So I'm going to go back to that Fill and Sign on the side of my toolbar. And then I'm going to come up here and click Sign. So I have to open that little sign dialog. Now you can see here, it's already saved my signature because I sign a lot of PDFs. If I want to put my signature on there, all I have to do is click and hold to grab my signature, and then I'm going to drag it wherever I want on that PDF. And once I drop my signature in place, I can resize it as well, right? So if you already have your signature loaded in, you can grab it and move it around like that. But how do you get your signature in there if you haven't signed a PDF before? Just a couple more steps. So we're going to click that sign button. And you'll see here that it says add initials. So it actually on the signing feature gives you the option to upload your signature and upload your initials, because sometimes when we're filling out lots of forms, there's pieces we have to initial and pieces that we have to sign. So if you don't have your signature in there already, you'll see a little plus sign right here and it'll say add signature, just like it says add initials. If I click on that, it's going to pop this open. I can just type my initials in, right? So if I want to say BACW, that's what I usually put for my initials, I can just type them in right there and it'll let me pick a couple different styles. Now, the thing that I don't like about this option is really it's just text. It's not really your signature. We can put our real signature in here. There's two ways that you can put your actual signature in. You can go to Image. So if you have a scan already of your signature that you like to use, you can just upload it in and it will save it like that. But you can also use this draw feature. Now this can be kind of difficult if you don't have a touch screen, if you're trying to do it with your mouse. But again, if you've got a touch screen and you have a stylus or a pen that you can use, we can just write here on the screen. There we go. And now that's my actual initials, the way I write them. I click apply, and now I have my initials that I can add in there as well. Now, and I know it says signature for this one and initials for this one, but you can put anything you want in there. A couple of years ago, my husband and I bought a new house and we had to sign a lot of documents. So when we were doing that and doing it electronically, we uploaded his signature on one line and my signature on the other line and went through and signed all of the documents that we needed to do. So if you wanted both of these to be your signature or maybe different versions of your signature, or one to be your signature and one to be your initials, you can upload basically two signatures here however you want. And that is how we sign a PDF. So That was a pretty quick overview, but we learned what a PDF is. We learned how to make a PDF. We learned how to organize them, combining, reordering, rotating, and deleting pages. We talked about all the different ways that we can annotate our PDFs, showed us how to do a little bit of light editing, and then how we can fill out and sign forms. So now you can have your own PDF party. You have gone from basic skills to intermediate skills. So at this point, if we have any questions from our live streaming audience, I would be happy to do my best to answer those.
Can I export a PDF page as a JPEG or a PNG?
Can I export a PDF page as a JPEG or a PNG? Now, might depend on the version you have. If you have Reader, I don't think you can go backwards from a PDF, but from the full version, I believe we can export as some other file sizes. So here in my binder, right, I'm going to come down to Export To, and here are the options I have, right? So I can export this back to a Word document. I can export to a Microsoft Excel workbook, a PowerPoint presentation, or an image. So from here, I could select JPEG, JPEG 2000, TIFF, or PNG. So those are the options that I have here in my Export To feature. Great question.
When would I not want to use a PDF?
Good question. So for all the reasons that a PDF is a really valuable format, those are the same reasons that you might not want to use a PDF. If you're doing something that you truly do want to collaborate on, maybe someone is doing some editing, if you want them to be able to make those changes and have them look correct, PDF might not be for you. If you're going to need to make major edits and you want the people you're sending to be able to make major edits, PDF's probably not the best choice. We can make those tiny edits, but anything, if we're adding big blocks of text or changing page layout, it's probably easier to do that in your source document.
That is all the questions we have for today.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you learned a little something about PDFs, and I hope you can join us next month for our next Tech Tuesday at 2, first Tuesday of the month. Thanks.
Thanks for watching Tech Tuesday at 2. We hope you learned all about the different uses of PDFs. Don't forget to tune into our YouTube to see all of our past Tech Tuesdays. Thanks for watching.